Hey everybody, this is Liz LePage, and I'm here to do a short clip video for you all about how to create an awesomely warm, sunshiny look for your images. So we're going to be taking this photo here, and we're going to turn it into this photo here. Now there are a couple of interesting steps that we're going to need to take inside of Effects to make this happen. So let's go ahead and jump right in. Once inside Effects, the first thing we're going to do is start by adding a filter and selecting our tone enhancer. Now, what we want to pay attention to is our subject in the foreground. You'll see that she's got great contrast now. We're actually going to up the details so that she's a little bit crisper, and it's already starting to look better. The way that this preset was created was by making a mask separating our foreground from our background. I'm going to go ahead and do that, but I'm going to fast forward through that process. If you're interested in learning a little bit more about masking, you can check out some of those specific videos, but I really want to jump right into how to create this preset. Alright, so now that I've gone through and I've created my mask, you can see that our background is completely left alone and our foreground is the only part that has these new tone enhancer adjustments on it. So if I turn this filter on and off, you'll see that that contrast is only applied to her and the background is left alone. Now the really great part about masking here inside Effects is that if I click on the mask itself next to our tone enhancer filter, it gives you all of these great options, including the ability to copy it. So we're going to go ahead and click the copy button here. We're going to save this mask and reuse it in just a minute. So we'll go up and add another filter. And now what we want to do is adjust the background. The best way to add that really cool warming effect is with the split tone filter. And we're going to create our own split tone by adjusting the color icons on the right. So starting with our highlights, we're going to go in and we're going to add a nice warm buttery yellow highlight and click OK. Then we're going to go in and select our shadow color and we're going to add a nice deep burgundy red and click OK. Now that we've got these added, we're going to pump up the amount a lot. We really want this color to make a huge impact here. Once we've done that, go up to the top of your screen and click to show those masking options. Now we're going to paste our last mask. Instead of having it on our subject, we're going to invert our mask and have it only on our background. Now, this is way too intense for me, so I'm going to drop down the opacity of this just a little bit. It's a little too much of a warming filter here. Now that we've got this great mask, we're just going to keep reusing it here. So let's go ahead and add another filter, and we're going to add an adjustment brush. Now the adjustment brush, the reason why I like to use this is because it's kind of like a jack of all trades. It lets you do lots of different things all at once. But again, we can reuse that mask one more time. So what we need to do is darken our background a little bit. We're going to click on those masking options here, and we're going to do just what we did last time. We're going to paste that mask, and then we're going to invert it. Now, instead of brightening our background, we're going to darken our background. So we'll go ahead and just take that darkness slider, move it to the left a little bit. We're going to increase the contrast in the background as well, just to make some of those colors pop. If the color is a little too intense for you, don't be afraid to drop the vibrance a little bit. Sometimes I like to go a little overboard with that split tone and really make my colors stand out. If it's too much, you've got that vibrance slider there. You also have the ability to adjust your color here as well. So if you want to add a little bit of coolness back in or warm it up even more, you can make that adjustment here. The other thing that's really great is if you take the details slider and you move it to the left, you can soften some of the details in the background. It's a great way of adding a little bit of a blur to the edges without going overboard. So this is a really cool little trick that I like to use for my backgrounds. The next thing we're going to do is add a simple vignette to pull the whole photo together. So we'll add another filter and just choose vignette. I'm going to leave it pretty basic and just darken it a little bit more and then maybe shrink it in just a bit. But we really want the vignette to be super basic. Now the last really cool step is going to be that bright light in the top right-hand corner. So we'll go ahead and add a filter, jump down to our texturizer, and this is where the secret special light lake is that I love to use. Open up your category drop-down menu and choose photographic. And then underneath the textures, you'll see that there are lots of different numbers of different photographic textures that you can use. We're going to use this one right down here, number 10, and we'll go ahead and select it. Now, the big thing are the adjustments in the texturizer that are going to make it really stand out. The first thing is adjusting your mode from subtle to lighter. Now it's going to make that brightness happen. The other thing is going to be flipping it. So this bright spot down on the bottom right, we want to flip it so that it's on the top right. So there are a couple of buttons here that allow you to rotate and flip your texture. So we'll go ahead and do that real quick. And then I also want the scale of it to get even larger. I want more of this brightness to move over to the left-hand side here. So we're going to take that scale slider and we're just going to make it a little bit bigger. Now, we don't want it on our entire image. It's way too much. So on the left-hand side of the screen, we're going to select our masking bug tool. We're going to go ahead and click to add a gradient masking bug. And then we're just going to rotate this guy into place. Now, the reason why I clicked it right off of her head is because we don't want it on the entire image. We kind of want it right on the top of her head. We're going to tilt it just a little bit here. We're also going to intensify the feathering effect. So we're going to click and drag out those dotted lines on the top and bottom here. Now, when you're adding a light leak or a filter that adds this bright spot here, the big thing is going to be adjusting it on your subject's face. We really want to avoid adding too much on her face and softening it too much. So a great way to make an adjustment is by selecting your basic brush tool, go up to the tool options bar and make sure your feathering is at 100. We're going to turn our perfect brush off here. And we're just going to make our brush nice and big, and we're going to click over her face. Now, you can go in and you can remove it from her entire face, or you can go in and you can add just a little bit around the edges. That's completely up to you. I really want to make sure that she stands out, but I love this bright, soft, yellowy light in the top right-hand corner. And that's it. So let's go ahead and take a look. This was our original image. I really enjoyed this photo, but it didn't really have the pop that I wanted it to. And this is our after image.